Hi, I'm Rose Lambert, spiritual mystic alchemist. I'm here to guide you out of any struggles and help you find your higher self, to change your thoughts from negative to positive. No more struggling. Learn to flow with positive vibes. Let's create your dream life. Change your mind, change your life.
Hello everyone, welcome to Spiritual Mystic Alchemist Show. I am Rose Lambert, your host, amateur host. I am still new. It's only 2 months and I'm learning. But I have a good, very important message, and I was called in to do this, and I'm trying my best to give you the best what I received from my spirit guides. Today I'm gonna be more concentrated on self-respect, love, expectance, appreciate your dilemmas, seeing opportunities, lessons from source. It's gonna be a wonderful show, and if you don't have time to watch this show right now, please come back, watch from recording, because our energy, our vibration is very, very important for manifesting good life for yourself and best, whatever you could get best from this world. I'm a living proof with my story, with my life story. I come from rags to riches. I did all on my own with the source's help, and I will be sharing what I receive from source, what I do for my own self. Otherwise, if I didn't do these things, I wouldn't have a TV show. I would be cleaning, scrubbing floors somewhere. The way I started, my mother was a cleaning lady. I come from very humble beginnings, and so these works. So you cannot afford to lose this information. You must watch. If you want to have a better future, do yourself a favor. Come back to this show, find 1 hour to invest yourself, and I promise you will get a lot of benefits and you would not regret it. I have a wonderful guest today. She's also just like me, a light worker, starseed, indigo child, and she is also open to channeling. She will be having a TV show soon. She will be channeling, getting information from
Hardly the Galactic Federation.
Galactic Federation.
Amongst other collections.
And she's my soul sister. We shared other lifetimes together on this earth, and we find each other again in this lifetime. Sally Bernard with me. Welcome, Sally.
Thank you, Rose. What a beautiful opening. That was lovely. I really enjoyed listening.
I am so happy to have you today with me.
And I'm happy to be here too.
I can't wait to start your show, and I know we're going to be in each other's show, but it's totally a different platform. We will not be copying each other. She is gifted in her own way, and she is amazing.
One thing I just want to mention, because when you said from rags to riches, I actually had it the other way around. I went from riches to rags, and back again. And I used to love that saying, because that's exactly what happened to me. So once again, there is no coincidences.
We're two sisters. We lived, so far we find out, we had a life together in Italy together, and we had a life together in Ottoman Empire times in Turkey. So, and now we have a life here in America, being soul sisters.
I'm honored to be your guest on your show, Rose. It's beautiful, lovely. And
Thank
you have a
you.
great message, as I hope I do too. And just to all the listeners, you're in for one ride.
With all the I cannot explain, like it's just like explaining spirituality, our knowledge, and everything I know. It's explaining to a blind person to see the birds, flowers, the world, the ocean, a sun. How can you explain a blind person all these beautiful things we see around us, and this blind person, been blind since the birth? It's very, very hard. But one thing I could do is, what I know, what I do to get what I want, how I manifest things to have a better life. I always get what I need and little more than I need. It's I am not a greedy person. I never aimed for super impossible, like extreme. If I did that, probably I would have got that too. But I like less problems, less drama, more humble lifestyle, but I always got more than I ever asked for. And I came from rags to riches. And I was going to say, it's like, you could check it out on my website, but my website is really, really bad because my TV show came before my website was ready. And my website under construction, and we didn't, I couldn't communicate with the person who was doing. All the information is wrong, and I thought they were going to add their own version of explaining, because my English is not that great, as you could see. Talking is better, but when I write, that's the other story. And the writing is not correct, and the pricing is not correct.
You're doing good. I hate to interrupt you, but you're doing very good, sister.
Yeah. So it's like I put out there, it's like there's going to be I'm hiring a new person, and that website's going to all come down, and we're going to build a new one, and there's going to be, like for my energy healing, there's going to be a price list and what I do, the description, and then also for spiritual mentoring. I know I went through really, really hard times, and a lot of horrible things happened, and from 2017 until like last year, because awakening is a not easy time. And if any, I know a lot of people awakening now and going through these rough times. And if you're one of them, if you need help, if you need a mentor, you could contact me. And also, I do energy healing the way I learned from my grandmother. The old techniques, old way of doing things. And if you're suffering with, illnesses and, problems like, anything. It just, I have a 30-minute free consultation. You could call in and we could check to see what you need. And, but all these gonna be available after my website gets correctly done. For now, find me from my Facebook.
Let's see if we can call the guides in to tell them to hurry this up, Rose, for
Right, right. Right.
Okay, yeah.
And I wanna tell people how we because you and I, we know the frequency, that we are energy beings. Our energy has to be aligned with precisely with the source and the universe, and we could manifest things much faster and easier.
Absolutely, I agree. I mean, if there's we all have negative thoughts. That's normal. We are humans here. But as long as we can keep them in bay and we actually try to be positive, even if we're feeling like, I'm having a terrible day, it's best, really, from my experience, not to say that, because the day will be terrible from here on in until you change your attitude. So I feel that that's really, really important.
Yeah, like for example, sometime, I know the world is under construction right now, and a lot of things changing, and I know a lot of people might be not having their best times and might be facing very difficult times, and you should listen. Because let's say you have a property, oceanfront property, it's a very valuable, but there is a really old construction, the old building on it, and doesn't serve that. There's nothing to do. It's like it's ugly, it's old, and it has termites, and you can't build on it. Sometimes old things gotta go to build a new. It's just like going through a divorce. Sometimes when we go through a divorce, we think it's the end of the world. Like, it's a lot of negative energy. But before destroying the old, like removing the old, what's there, new can come in. It's many people maybe out there ask people who's been married a few times, they always be like, thank God I got divorced, and then so and so came, and now I'm much more happier. And it happened to me too. It's like I've been married 2 times, and my second marriage was much better than my first marriage, and I was never regretted for later on. But at the point of divorce, I was extremely sad. But when you're going through a tough time, please think there's always light. That dark night always ends up with the morning. It's like there's not always dark, and the morning will show up, morning will come. And Sally been through a divorce too. It's like we lost a lot.
Times. But it makes way for the new to come back in. I mean, if you're in a tough situation, and we all are, we're humans here, we have problems here too, as you know, Rose. But there's always, and it's cliche, but there's always light at the end of the tunnel. I have had so much validation in the past, as you know, from what's happened to me, to say, don't give up, just continue and do the best that you can.
And then like holding on to the negative energy actually harms you. It's like, like for example, okay, the one thing, you might be going through a divorce. And especially if something big gonna happen in your life, before that big major thing happens, like usually people get their life destroyed. And it happened to me, and it happened to so many of us. And maybe you lost your job. And maybe there is time to now look into your talent, skills. Maybe that job wasn't for you, maybe you think that was the best you could get until, you didn't push harder because you were in a comfort zone. Because income was coming, but you had other goals and you wanted to try something new. Maybe this is giving you a chance to try something new, right?
That's perfect advice, absolutely. I don't even know how much I can add to that because you explained it beautifully, Rose, absolutely.
Sometimes disasters happens to preparing us for better, bigger, much better things. So everything starts from internally. It's like, I promise you I'm gonna help you to, manifest things faster, much easier to your life. First thing is we got to get to know ourselves. And today, with the social media, they're distracting us. Always we're paying attention to, it's like, oh, who's wearing what, where they go. It's like what they did. Just turning internally. It's like, I have times I shut down everything. I don't want to watch anything. I don't want to see anything. I just try to learn my own self. And so many of us today, we don't know who we are, and we have opinions about other people. It's like we have to find out who we are, what we do, and what's serving us, what doesn't serve us. And a lot of things we do, it might be with the very small, slight changes, could shift you to better energies, better vibrations, and focusing on your own business. I went through hell so many times, but I always focus on my job, what I do, what I could do best. And there's a lot of people out there, the family, friends, especially if you're going through some kind of dramatic situation, there's a lot of opinions. And I had a narcissist exes, and they used to put this perfect picture out there. And there was no reason for me to even try to outdo him. I couldn't. It's like he was the master of the creating these, creating himself the nicest person. I wasn't the good one. So I didn't even waste my energy to, try to fight with that. And I let everybody, whatever they think, and I focused on my own self to heal, let it go. We have to let it go, detach from negative.
So
And
how do you find that you're able, what leads you to that decision, which I understand? What do you do when you get to that point?
I think because of I'm an indigo child, starseed, and light worker, it comes to me naturally. I don't have to force myself, but I do see other people who's going through a similar situation. They're in this big war, and it's like he said, she said, or it's like they're trying to prove their point. It's just the opinion. It's somebody's opinion doesn't make any difference. It's like after a while, doesn't matter how juicy and good your story is, everybody's gonna forget about it. And your divorce or your situation, whatever you're going through right now, might be the hottest topic, but a few months down the road, everybody's gonna be finding something else to entertain themselves, and it's an entertainment for a lot of other people. And I said, I'm not going to be people's entertainment. I am refusing. And whoever wants to entertain, if my ex wants to entertain that, he could do it. And I'm not going to entertain that. And I focus on healing, letting go. Because it's not easy to, get rid of things and make a big life change, moving, letting go. And sometime with the divorce and moving or changing jobs, you have to you even lose friends because you're not local anymore, and you change neighborhoods. I focus on who I could meet new. It's like with the positive energy where I move. It's like if there is like some kind of spiritual place I could go to, spiritual center, spiritual churches right now. That's what I'm into. And, mind-like people. I don't need to get any advice from there. I just go there to find people, just we will be more aligned with our energies, and they could believe the same type of things and same kind of outlook in life. And I just focus on myself. Then I think it's like sometimes the worst times are for me the best time to work on myself.
Yeah, well, we met at the spiritual center.
Yes, we did, and I find my soul sister over there. And exactly, I was going through a divorce, and I didn't want to, waste my time fighting with my ex, and I wanted to go meet new people. And they didn't know my story, and they couldn't talk about my divorce. We were talking about the things good, positive. I just basically pulled myself away from negative.
Sometimes you have to make that leap. You have to go. Sometimes you may feel uncomfortable within yourself because you're going through a lot, but I feel that if you put yourself into that situation that you might in the beginning feel uncomfortable with, it usually is the best choice, because if we go with our gut feeling, somehow it will lead to something bigger. We don't always see it at the time, but then we'll look back on the story of just how you're talking right now and say to ourselves, you know what? Now I'm beginning to see how that happened. I followed my instinct. May not want to. There are many times when I haven't wanted to. But if I've done it, I can honestly say that it's been to my betterment of who I am on my journey. And that's what you're explaining. And I feel that it's very important.
And also, like the very spiritual ones, you would know this, oneness. But the ones who doesn't know, it's like, they might be like, how come we could be all one? And we all come from like oneness also. There is no right or wrong. It's like, I cannot say my ex is wrong. It's like, that's his opinion, or that's his situation, that's his story he's telling. And there's no point of fighting with him, and let him to say whatever he wants to say. because, I believe in we're one. The God created us, and we are created in God's likeness, and we are, our souls are piece of God. So we are godly beings, and we are, gods, right?
Absolutely.
And
But
so we have to like each other with our differences. We have to still love each other and send out love instead of hate and negative feelings. And so I always try to see his point. And like for example, one of my ex, he had a dramatic childhood, and the certain things he believed, it affected what type of husband he was, and he had a horrible time trusting and horrible time believing that, like husband and wife should be one. And it's like he always had like I felt like I was a spare tire. It's like, in a car, it's like you have your 4 tires and there's a spare in the back. That's how I felt. It's like I wasn't never let into the marriage. And he had children, he had his family, and I was just a spare, and I never had a chance to be, connect with them 12 years. So it's,
Rose, not to interrupt you here, but we are all on our own individual journey, and we can only, I feel for myself anyway, judging is difficult, and it's hard
Right.
not to do. I know
Right.
that too. But we don't really know where someone else is at.
Right.
And they may be at a different point. They may be ahead of me or behind me. It doesn't matter. I think as long as we stay true to our own selves, and we go through life, and it's difficult, I know, not to pass judgment on people, because we really don't know where they're coming from. I'm
Exactly.
guilty of that. I've done it many times, so I understand what you're saying. But that's how we begin to learn, and we begin to open up a little bit more and be a little bit more, if we can, tolerant of people, because we don't know what they're going through or what they've had in their past.
Exactly. I was trying to understand him, where he's coming from, and I couldn't be mad. It's like, because, towards of the end, maybe we didn't love each other anymore, but he was somebody I loved. That's why I got married. And so I didn't hate him, I just released them. So we could release people who comes to our life, we fall in love, and then don't turn that love into hate. Just release before it turns into hate, because the hate actually you are keeping inside of you, and the person you hate has no idea. That's the poisonous feeling inside of you you're carrying, and then that feeling affecting your energy, your vibration, lowering your vibration down. By hating somebody, you're harming your own self. You're not harming anybody else. It's like the person you hate, could have a wonderful life, and they don't care, like they would not know. Your hate, you hate somebody, what can you do about it?
Well,
Just the feeling.
You're harboring that yourself, because you're actually taking their vibrations upon yourself, because it then becomes a negative, which now will, in the end, bring yourself down too. But, I believe that we have to experience that. A lot of things that you're saying, we have to go through to see the other side of that. There's white, there's black. I guess the idea is to have a balance here. So.
Exactly. It's like moderation. It's like, everything in moderation. It's like, but the hate, even with the there is no hate. It's like you shouldn't be hating
But we
anybody.
don't see that. And I understand that too. And I'm not saying that's what we should do. But realistically, here in this world, we don't realize it till we begin to look within ourselves. And then we see
But
that.
if they know this,
Yeah.
this is the hate, this feeling doesn't hurt anybody other than the person hating.
Yeah, but
It's
I
like-
think the message that you're giving, which is perfect, is to tell people, please try not to hate.
Yeah,
because it will
that's
only
hurting
affect
you.
ourselves.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's just
Yeah,
hurting
yeah,
you.
yeah.
It's like that doesn't hurt anybody else.
I just
It's
wanted to put my little
It's
input
just like
in.
you drinking the poison. You're expecting your enemy to die. That's not going to happen. You drink the poison, it's going to harm you. It's going to
Precisely.
affect what you're going to generate, what you're going to get from manifesting. You might manifest negative things into your life because you are carrying a negative energy. So whatever you do, try to forgive and let go. You don't have to tell a person, I forgive you. They don't have to know.
Perfect.
You could do that in your privacy and in your own way of meditating. You just release, just release yourself from this negative energy. Because more positive energy you carry, more love you carry, your energy vibration is going to rise. And you try to rise that vibration so you could get better things in life. You deserve better, don't you? It's like turn internally and feel, if you feel bad for yourself, it's like for certain things, this is the, like the best thing you could do for yourself is don't hate. Let those hate go.
I love your message. It's a beautiful message.
And also with our consciousness, instead of using, sometimes our minds doesn't tell us the exactly right thing, because we're pre-programmed. When we're born, our families, the school we go to, the neighborhood we grow up, the country we're in, they have their certain beliefs, and we're programmed to those beliefs. And our mind works with learning what we learn from this world. But our heart, our consciousness, programmed by Source, the God, our Creator, programs that. And if you want to go to, we should turn into God programming, not what people programmed us here, because they didn't know any better. For a certain reason that they did certain things, and the times are changing, and now we're communicating better. We could see somebody in the other side of the world, and we don't we're more open, and like the world actually got so much better. Like if you compare it with 200-300 years ago, how brutal and how barbaric were some of the things. And even look back, World War II. It's like what happened to Holocaust. It's like the horrible. And, it's like today's times, something like that never happened. It's like the world going to a better place. But we could speed that up with enough technology, using our conscious more, God programming instead of the people's programming and what they put into, because there's a little bit hate might be slip into that. It's like, don't believe what your mind, and because mind also works with ego. God tells us, the Creator tells us, don't use your ego. Ego is actually the worst thing we could, it confuses us. It's a devil. To me, the ego is the worst thing.
Absolutely, it's our enemy. But as long as you can put a lot aside, concentrate on our own journey. I mean, we have to start somewhere, and I think your message is great, Rose, of what you're telling people, because if you can just open up to, there is so much more that we don't know and that we begin to learn when we start this journey, and I love your message. Mainly, again, we've all got stories. We can all go back into our past. I don't think many people do not escape from the problems of this world. It's difficult. But we're here, in my belief anyway, is we're here to learn. And if we didn't have these stories, how much would we learn? If everything was absolutely going along our way and we forgave from the very beginning everything that people did, we're kind of living in la la land, right?
Right.
So
it's like
the idea is to just begin to learn, open up, and then we have amazing things ahead of us.
It's the point of being in the world. The world's a school. We are here to learn. So we could be godlike. We could be more godlike. So, God doesn't hate. God forgives. God loves. And we have to try to be like that, and instead of other way around. And I think, and then that does magical things. It's like the 528 as the love frequency. It's in the music, and you could meditate. You could pull up on YouTube, and it's like you Google it, and 528. It's like there is a frequency, helps and heals. The love heals, and love yourself too. Respect, love, get to know yourself, because we born alone, we die alone. And don't expectations. For example, the biggest problem today with the relationships, we expect things. And if you don't want to have your heart broken, if you want to have a happier life, lower your expectations. Don't expect anything. Expect whatever you're expecting from yourself. I believe in giving, and I don't expect anything. So anytime somebody does little something for me, makes me happy, because I wasn't expecting. I don't have expectations. Why we expecting anything? Even with the relationship, we put rules, we put in expectations. It's like we should just nourish it, not expecting. And right?
Absolutely. Gratitude, I think you're trying to say here too, right?
Right.
Gratitude is very, very important. Even the smallest thing, if you can see the good out of that and get gratitude for that, it's
Right.
it's much easier to talk about it than actually do it, and I understand that too. But as long as we plant the seed within ourselves, and I look around sometimes, I came from London, I came here. As I said, I went from riches to rags, but back again. But I didn't really understand it, but I knew every day I had to put a smile on my face and get my life back. So.
I know your story, and you let it go. It's like she lost most of her money. She basically almost left with nothing at the divorce. But instead of going through a long, nasty fight, Sally gave up, just like I did. I did too. It's like 2 times, and she did it too. Why was the reason you give up? You didn't want the negative energies, right?
From my marriages?
Right.
Yes. No, I didn't know what was leading me on, but I knew that I would be okay. I didn't know when, but I came over here with very little. But I put a smile on my face, and you know what?
And you lost all of your money, and you trust in yourself. And what happened?
But the thing is, I didn't know it at the time, but I knew that I was getting things happening to me at that time. And I'm looking up and I'm saying, how is that possible? How did I meet that person? How did I find $20 on the street? These things happened to me, Rose. I didn't understand it at the time, but as time has gone on, and it's many years now, it's like a jigsaw puzzle. It's beginning to fit in all the pieces. And I had, I guess, what they call an amazing awakening. I became an artist overnight. My story is long, so I'm not going to do it on your show, but I had most amazing positive things happen to me, and it made me think. It made me go within and say, there has to be more to this. What is it? I want to know more. And then I started to take notice of little things that were happening around me. I mean, one day when I say I found $10, I was on the beach and I was hungry and I wanted something to eat for my breakfast, but I want to get in my car and go home. I said, I'm hungry, I'd like breakfast now. I go into the ocean and I go like that, and there's a $5 bill. This is going back a long time, because I don't know if you can get breakfast for $5 at this point. But that time, yes, it was just enough to go and get my breakfast. But what it did to me, I could put it down as coincidence. It doesn't matter what it was, it happened. But I began to look within and say to myself, and I looked up, although it's around us too, and I said, how is this happening? Too many things are happening for me to be coincidental. That was the beginning of my story.
So it's like she turned internally. It's like she started looking in. She lost everything, and then start building up. And don't you feel like
I never lost my smile? I smiled.
Yes.
Day to day, I smiled, because I said, who is going to want to be with someone who is crying and complaining?
And then also sometimes our source testing us. It's like because sometimes also I believe if you want great things, you have to do great. If you want great, you have to be great. You have to put some work in. And, you know, Source, our creator, testing us sometime. And I had a friend, after a divorce, she wanted to get married. And she wanted to find us a nice guy. She was very picky too. But she didn't go anywhere. She was all day long, spending all of her time just being home, watching, you know, Netflix over and over and again, and, you know, watching movies. I said, you know, it's like, you need to get out. You know, it's like, God not going to prepackage this awesome guy and send you. It's like, okay, this is delivery. And with his resume, it's like, you know, I have a great job, and, you know, it's like, and here you go, I'm at your door. That's not going to happen. We have to go out there and look for it.
You have to make the effort, yeah.
Yeah, we have to make the effort. And then sometimes the more you want, more the effort you got to put. You know, it's like, I do a lot of work, you know, because I mean, in my way, you know, I get what I want. But I don't mind going after, you know, it's like sometimes you don't know where the opportunity is going to come. You know, it's like you know, I'm open-minded, you know. Sometimes I meet somebody new. It's like, okay, I said, I want, you know, this happening to me, but so far people around me in my social circle, this didn't happen. It's like, maybe I need new people. And then when somebody comes and, you know, it's like, sometimes it's nothing, just the other new person in your life, and, you know, you could be a good friend, and, you know, you could have a good time, or you could learn something. I say there's nothing bad in life.
There is no, again, this is what I believe, there are no coincidences. Even if someone comes into your life for maybe just a half an hour, it may not be that important in your life, but I believe that we are led to the right people. And sometimes you can look back many years later and say, you know, I remember having a conversation for half an hour with someone 6 years ago. That's what they were trying to tell me. And then when you've gone a little further in our journey, well, for myself, I can only talk for me, I've gone a little further in my journey, I begin to see why that person was put in my life, even just for half an hour.
Right.
I've had so much validation on this, Rose, it's hard for me to, people can say, what is she talking about? I understand that too. But for me, it's happened. Totally happened.
I feel like, you know, everybody comes to our life either as a blessing or a lesson. You know, it's like either we learn something. Well,
depending what we, yes, absolutely, is what we need at that.
Or it's a blessing. It's like we have a good friendship. It's a blessing to have a nice friend. Or we learn something. It's something happens. It's like, you know, but there is like, I don't believe there is, you know, I don't call unfortunate situations punishment or you know, horrible things. It's like, you know, I mean, I look at, you know, there is, you know, always lessons and blessings in life. There's nothing else. It's
even
like,
if it makes you feel uncomfortable, it's meant to be at that point.
There's no
failure.
Right? I couldn't get the word failure. It's like I can't. Yeah, I never see myself being failed in anything, because I could try and I could learn things and I could move on. And you could keep trying until you do it right. It's like nobody does everything in one try. It's like sometimes, you know, I'm an entrepreneur. I tried many businesses. Not all of them succeed. I tried much as I could try, and, you know, one succeed, and then I continue with that. It's like sometimes, you know, it's the best thing is you could do for yourself. Your self-investment is just get to know yourself, and self-improvement. It's just getting to know who you are, what's your triggers. It's like what the things you do to put you in the bad mood, and, you know, just trying to stay away from those negative emotions. It's like, for example, jealousy, envy. Why? It's like sometimes when I pray, and I know some people are jealous of me, and I say, please God, give them more. So like if they jealous of me for some financial reason, give them more finances, make them there better than me, have them more. If they want to look better, give them a more beauty. It's like whatever they want. It's like I'm not jealous of anybody, and, you know, it's like that's like a very negative feeling too. We shouldn't be jealous of, envious of each other. We should only, like, if somebody's better than us, like in a business wise, I always looked at as some somebody I could learn from, like how they success leads trails. And I was like always proud of having a friend who is successful. I could learn something. And if somebody more beautiful, it's nice to look at the beautiful people. It's like I don't see any reason to be jealous if somebody's fortune, or it's like so. And also, like now we talked about it, these negative feelings it's like a poison, and it's harmful to us. And we got to try to get rid of that, and get rid of that negative feeling, so your fortune, your manifestation could be much faster and easier. If you want to make your life easier, you basically minding your own business and concentrating, focusing on yourself. And I'll give you one example. The most awakened people are these in East, the monks. What they do, like they mind their own business and they focus, they meditate. And most awakened people they're internal, like they're not outwards. It's like, they're just more focusing on their actions, and then everything else around them falls into place. It's like that's how it works. It's like you do yourself, you do your own things, dealing with your feelings and emotions, controlling yourself, and then the universe does the rest. And then your wishes becomes the command. It's like that's the golden key to open the successful life. It's like the financially, attracting love in your life. I mean, whenever I got divorced, it's like I didn't spend too much time on trying to find somebody. It happens easily because I'm open. I'm open to receiving somebody coming into my life, and I don't nitpick. So
that's
I give
perfect,
options.
Rose. And I think also our own self-esteem about ourselves, has bearing on that too, because that's our thought process as it goes along anyway. And if we feel good about ourselves, we are going to attract someone of that level. Does it happen all the time? No, but the good thing is we will notice when that happens. If we don't notice it, then that's up to us to do that.
Like if we not feel good about ourselves, how are we going to attract somebody to love us full? Like if we're not loving, if you don't love yourself, how do you expect somebody to love you? It's like the one thing you have to do is love yourself, and not to a point to be like like narcissism. It's like it's not nothing like that. Knowing yourself, and being taking care of yourself, and being also gratitude. It's like being grateful with what we have. It's like even the hardest times, I am always grateful, because we just don't realize how big is what the Creator does. Like even just swallowing, drink of water. When sometimes you're sick, when we're weak, we realize, taking a one step, how much of big deal. It's like until we lose certain things, we don't realize how lucky and blessed we are. So I always practice gratitude. It's like my prayers always starts with saying thank you. Thank you for my health. Thank you for my wealth. And thank you for the people around me, people who love me. It's like I am always grateful. If I have little, big, doesn't matter. Thank you, always the same. It's like I'm always thank you. We have to keep practicing the gratitude. And, we cannot say, well, you gave so-and-so that, you didn't give me. And so I'm not grateful, I'm miserable, I'm depressed. That doesn't work like that. When you're trying to manifest better, good things into your life, you can't compare yourself with other people. And we are like apples on the, apple tree. It's like we are all individual. We might look like all apples, we are all human, but we all have a separate uniqueness of, it's like when we're born, each of us have different experiences, what we learn, who was our parents, where we come from, affects us certain ways, and we cannot be all the same. It's like you could be a twin, you're still a different person.
Because we're all on separate journeys. I don't want to interrupt you again too, but just to reiterate on that, we each have our individual journey. We know that, we just don't know it because we don't remember it. But along the way, we get obstacles that come in, and that feeling of gratitude comes sometimes when we've had it hard, and then we see that we're opening up to something else, and we can say we were hungry, we didn't have any money to buy food, and suddenly someone comes into our life to buy us some food. That gratitude will come because we'll say, oh my gosh, I know what it was like to be hungry. The key again, and I really feel this very strongly, is that we need that balance. We don't want to go hungry, but we also don't want to eat too much. There's a very fine line between the two. And when we begin to understand that, I think then we can go forward on our journey, which is actually can turn out to be absolutely amazing.
And then also, there is no limits, what you could receive, right? It's like
well, if we're ready, for myself, I feel that if we're not, we still need to learn our lessons. But once we begin to open up, and my motto has always been, believe and anything is possible. It does not happen in our time overnight. But as long as you feel that we're on the right journey, things will happen to help you believe that. The validation that you will receive. And you'll say, you know what? That was pretty amazing.
Right.
It doesn't matter where you're coming from. These little messages will still come to you. And if you can just sit up, it happens to all of us. It's not just me, you, or anybody that's listening to the show. We all have this. But we have to sit up and look at it and say, that was amazing. And give gratitude to that amazing that's happened.
And, it's like turning in and having gratitude, and also, knowing, figuring out your purpose in life. It's like what you really want. And you focusing, meditating on your purpose. It's like without a purpose, we just basically can't give our 100%, our energy. It's like that, you could say today, oh, it's like I like this idea. I want to be, let's say, I want to sell an A1, or I want to get a certificate to this business, or open up a little boutique, or whatever, But if you change your mind, it's like 2 months later, keep changing, and then you're really not feeling it. It's like, like getting to know yourself and getting to know your purpose. Like there is, if you ever watch these superstars, and they're beginning of their life, and they're determined, and some of them goes through washing dishes, working at the restaurant, being a servant, and they do anything and everything until they get where they want. It's like, persistent, keep working on what you're dreaming. It's like not giving up, because I have some people, they telling me, it's like, well, you're so lucky. I said, I don't believe in luck. I believe in creating your own, designing your own future. Mm-hmm. And they said, no. It's like, I want things, but I don't get it. That's what they do. It's like they wanting it, but they're not doing it. They don't know their purpose. They see something today, they want it. It's like it's just like seeing a dress on online. They want that today, and tomorrow they want something else. It's scattered. It's not going to happen. If you have to focus, you have to know what's your goal, what's your purpose, and then you work towards of that. Like focusing, meditating, dreaming. And, actually it's like a great idea to have a vision board. I used to have that, when I was doing my work. I used to have vision board, and also when my daughter was growing up, I had a dream for my daughter, and which is exactly happened. She's happily married with the 4 amazing little boys, little grandchildren. She gave it to me, and she made me the happiest grandmother on earth. I am so blessed and so thankful for that. And she married, the Jewish mothers, what they say is like, find a doctor or a lawyer. So she came home with the Jewish lawyer. So I said, okay, it's like, that's great. I'm happy. So she made this mother very happy, you know. So, I mean, that was on my vision board though. It's like I just basically knew what I want for my daughter, and it was in my dream to see her married and be happy. And with
I'm glad you had the same vision board. She must have had the same vision board, so that was good.
I wanted her to be married and have children. It's like, because she was the only child, and I am from Turkey, and I don't have too many family here from Turkey, relatives. So to me it was like, like having my family grow. It's like, I mean, she gave me more than even I asked, I could have dreamed of. It's like I said, at least 2 children, and she gave me 4. So it's like, she's amazing. But we have to know what we want, I mean, even the day she got married, I light up candles and I prayed for them to have children. It's like I was so persistent. I was putting my prayers out when they were getting blessed and they were getting their wedding ceremony. And I light up, that morning I light up candles, and I put up prayers to universe for my daughter to have children. It's like just knowing, I don't give up. I don't expect anything from other people, but I expect from source. I expect from God. And, also for receiving is giving. I always say this, we have to give to receive. I can't directly serve source, so I serve the source creations. I serve other people, and I ask what they need. I could try to do whatever I can. And, donating certain amount of almost like it was, it's like 10%. Donating your money to, people whose need, I can't say the word, tiding.
Tiding. I'm not sure myself.
It's like, I don't know if I'm saying it correct. That's why I say giving. It's like tiding. It's like giving 10% of your money to needy. And
I think it's within ourselves. We can all give in different ways, Rose, too. I mean, some people might say, well, why does that work? Why do I have to do that? But they can also give themselves. They can give time of themselves. They can show it in many different ways.
It's like, if we don't have income, if we don't, just enough for us, and it's like if you have little, you give little. If you have more, you give more. Of course, we always, could spare some. It's like we could always give some. But if we were saying, I don't have anything to give, then you have time. We could go help people, serving and helping. It's like
there's many different ways.
That's the biggest thing. It's like generating a big positive vibration, giving without any expectations, just doing it for God. Doing it for God, and then don't expect anything in return from that person. It could be even a person going through some hard time, being there for that person that time. Exactly. just you basically the God's hand. It's like God working through you. You might be like surprised with yourself. You might be like very patient, listening. God will come through you. Spirit will come through you to work, ease that person's pain. So making ourselves available, whatever we could do to doing the right thing, and then the source does the right thing for us, and not giving into this negative energy going around the world. It's like right now, it's like world changing, everything reconstructioning, right? It's like it's just everything is upside down because the new world getting built. It's like everything's going to be happen much better than before. Everything's going to be amazing. Golden years are here. But just like we talked about, in the beginning, losing a job, getting a divorce, it's like this is going to be a painful time. But after this complete, I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't want to just throw out a number and be wrong later on. If it comes to me, I will tell you guys. but everything's going to be wonderful. And then also, our thoughts, our energy makes the reality. So if we believe everything is going to be wonderful soon, it will be wonderful. It will happen wonderful soon, because collective conscious of everybody on this earth makes the reality.
Exactly.
Right?
A beautiful message, Rose. I
Yeah.
can't. Beautiful. Absolutely. I agree with you.
Like what we're thinking around the world collectively, it's designing our world. So let's have a positive prayers, positive thoughts for our world to be, so we could have a better world, and we would not have the hungry suffering, we would not have the these global warming, and hopefully we would not have anybody suffering much as they do now. It's like let's put out the good vibrations, let's send out the good loving energy, and let's be there for each other. Well, I had a lot more notes to go through, but the time is coming up, and I'm not going to have to go through all. But please come back, and next Wednesday also my live show, and we will go more do these. And then if you have any questions, if you want to share your thoughts, and also if you're a light worker, starseed, any person going through a special spiritual awakening, get in touch with me. It's like you're welcome to come to the show, share your story, because this show started for helping sharing stories with the light workers, starseeds, and spiritual awakening people, so we could, unite. So thanks for tuning in, watching the show, and can't wait to be together again and talk about more topics, and we could make this world wonderful place to be. And I would like to say thank you to my soul sister, Sally.
Thank you.
And Sally, I can't wait for your show. And when that's going to be?
Probably in about 2 weeks.
About in 2 weeks, Sally going to be having her show. And stay tuned. And thanks for coming
Thank
today.
you for having me, Rose. Thank
Tune
you.
in next time
Namaste.
to Spiritual Alchemist with Rose Lambert, where we talk about everything spiritual to guide you onto the right path. For more information, contact rosegalson@gmail.com or 786-747-9280. Shalom, everyone.